Welcome, RPG Limerick fans, to yet more Final Fantasy Randomizer Winter Tournament 2025, the Great Chaos Caper. We have match 2 between Wewbear and raxraxraxraxrax. My name is Thavian Hawk. With me today is our restreamer Mechlin and my co-coms, Fellison. Fellison, what are we looking at with these parties and blursings?
Well, this is another one of these seeds where we start with a force fighter, black belt none. Everyone loves those. And in terms of blessings, fighter would have plus 5 luck, a thief plus 800 GP. This black belt has plus 3 MDF growth on promo, so completely cancelling out the usual loss of MDF a master would have. The red mage has plus 10 vitality, white mage plus 20 vitality, and this black mage, which both runners have picked, has plus 25 agility.
Yeah, no, normally you'd be like, oh great, there's a black belt, I gotta find the better thing, because the better thing definitely is gonna have better blursings, let alone being better for damage output, but none of these blursings stand out to be excellent other than just more survivability for two of those casters.
And plus 5 luck, which I'm always a huge fan of. But yeah, I see the point you're making.
Yeah. We see both of our runners went with the Black Mage as their selectable caster. It's just probably looking for a sweeper to get through some encounters before they can find another melee option. Unlikely to see the Black Belt grind early enough to make a 2-man or 3-man with the Black Belt as the main carry a possibility, I'd say.
Yeah, and even if you do go with the black belt, because of the way the progressive scaling works, being based on shards, it means that if you take your grind early, you are giving up a lot of time.
Barring the most excellent grind luck, finding an encounter that doesn't have a lot of damage output that you can lay down the law with some casts and having cheap houses, going for that grind just that bit later in progression can make a huge difference. Like, just clear Volcano and get 6 or 7 shards, get to that first 8 shard turnover for 25% more experience, plus the levels you get to make it faster to get on grind. Well, we've got a lot to see. And to answer the question in chat, this seed roll was done by Scarcer. This is a Scarcer seed.
And we're off! So I see that both runners are taking the counterclockwise path around the Coneria. Usually we go clockwise, but this tournament has kind of shaken things up with recruits often being relevant. And in this case, Wewbear is instantly going with the fighter. And Rax, seeing this spell list, is rerolling. Instead of that black belt, black mage, they are taking a red. Understandable, because we could see Exit and was it Arab available in White Magic level 1? Now Arab is probably not being picked on this red mage because, oops, too many good spells.
Yeah, I like this selection. You've got Exit, you've got Temper, and you've got Ice 2. So you've got a sweeper, you've got mobility, and you've got pump spells on the red mage. Wewbear picking up that fighter, but Rax did not. So this is an interesting variation from the very get-go.
Indeed. I wonder if this will be another one of these fighter versus black belt races that I always find so interesting because of how the timings end up lining up in completely different ways across the two playstyles.
Well, Rax finding a face-down fighter and dealing with the... Oh, and the undead does the dummy on the red mage, so Rax just says, I don't need to check those top left boxes. We saw Wewbear found an opal shield and some more gold, so no shards found just yet, but both runners now on the Garland fight. The big loss for Rax, though, is that bottom left chest had several thousand gold, so that plus that experience loss having the black belt fall could make a bit of a difference at the early going. Ooh, Wewbear also wiping on Garland, so losing all that golden gear. Evened up with Wewbear or Rax now in the lead, getting the rod and the crown from the king and princess respectively.
So I guess, well, no, the crown is available from Fat Crown Canyon is available from the start, but that rod will not be instantly relevant since that takes either the ship plus canal or the canoe.
Realistically, Rax and Wewbear will be going to Provoca next. You want to get access to that level 2 magic. You've got the relatively easy fight that usually is there with Bicky. No canoe makes me think we won't see a quick check to Matoya's. We don't have the crystal, and we don't seem to be low enough on cash to try and raid her closet. I always think having the canoe makes it a little less of a stretch because you can bypass going around the rivers.
That's not a play I've ever gone for myself, at least in this flag set, but I should consider that, and it does sound pretty good.
It also makes more sense in an oops all loose sort of flag set where those 3 boxes might have something for them. And is that a caster? I think that was a red mage for recruiting?
Correct, a red mage. A bit redundant when you already have one and you're not sure what will be missed out on without the most specialized mages.
White Magic had Fog 2 and Invis, but we saw Quad X and Fire 3 picked up at Black 2, so the Red Mage does not miss any slots at level 2 magic, giving Rax plenty of choice. What does Bicky have for us other than experience? Bicky's got a canal.
Okay,
No
so
ship
next
yet.
we're gonna give Astos a little visit.
Barring a shop item, which we have, which, that was the bass drum. That is the loot for sale.
So that's one half of the government items taken care of. Well, not fully taken care of, since we need to return when we actually have the budget for that.
But given the fact that that is not a way of boosting experience and it's a known location, once they've got the key or a thief gets picked up with lockpicking, I mean, they just know where they need to go. And it's a fast stop too. If they haven't gone to Lefane, if they've promoted, they can get level 2 magic while they're picking up that item.
And it's likely to be just an easy place to drop by on your way from your last dungeon to Tofr.
And Rax did just save right in front of Elf and Dwarves, tried to go in and bonked. So we have a Chime Lock Dwarves.
Now, Astos with the boss scaling being the way it is, like I think it is 160 through 190%, is a bit more of a tank than we're used to, but Fire 3 did end up getting him down in 3 turns, and that's the canoe. Now the seed is wide open, at least the southern continents.
Now we've got the rod. If we do not get any other options, we could see a River to Melman run with this. I would love to see that. But for the moment, Rax has the options. Gonna go to Elfland, should probably go to Crescent and Volcano if they feel like they can make it work.
Wewbear got a significantly faster Astos fight due to using Quad X, which landed.
And we have level 3 black with Warp, totally learned by that Red Mage, and Life 2. So the Red Mage choice proving to be good enough to get access to all the relevant white magic so far.
No kidding.
Invis
Though
2,
not
also
lamp.
red learnable. And fast. So outside of that lit 3, every good spell so far on both red and white, or white and black I should say, has been red mage learnable thus far. And
Yeah,
there's
the
a thief.
big things we are missing right now are Temper and either Nuke or Fade.
Temper was at level 1.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Yes, right, it was.
We saw Exit, Temper, and Ice 2 picked up, and Rax does go with the Thieves, so Rax finally getting a third party member. Wewbear not checking, or... Yep, Wewbear not checking to see what that third party member is, and is just gonna leave. There's our houses at 775. Those are cheap as chips, but there's only about 900 gold in Rax's kit, so... Not gonna be able to pick anything up and not even bothering checking level 6 magic for the moment.
Yeah, it's always scary buying things that are so close to the money you've got because, well, having 100 left over is still enough for that, but oh, maybe it wouldn't have been enough to actually save at this inn, which is always awkward.
So
And
Rex did check the the character recruit, found a white mage and opted out. At this point, if I were Rex, I would look for a second red mage. Wewbear, on the other hand, now having the black and white mage, has full access to magic. I say second red mage over finding the black or white mage because for the moment, that second red mage would provide better the plus 10 vitality and access to all the magic so far found. Oh my word,
yeah,
River to
makes a
Melman,
lot
here
of sense.
we go. Rax has the ruby and the rod and the canoe. The options are Melman Peninsula or Volcano, and Volcano is not being taken. Here's our divergence, because Wu, not checking the herb, is going straight to Volcano.
I like the proximity play. Volcano is generally the best of the Fiend dungeons to tackle first.
You rarely feel confident this early taking on the fight with Carry, but with Warp and Exit so early, taking this dive, getting the item, and just exiting out is totally on the table. Rax, on the other hand, checking in with Melman, gonna save, and then has access to Titan's Trove and Sarda before even having to dive a Fiend dungeon. If this is something crazy, a combo ship floater, this could be huge early exploration advantage, or even a key.
Now I noticed that Wewbear has picked up the white mage from Crescent Lake, so I guess that will be a fight a white-black party.
Full magic, balanced melee pack with the high survivability of a plus 20 vitality white mage, and the armor equip and damage capability of the fighter. You know, there's no disadvantage to that party, I would say, over what Rax is doing right now. In fact, some advantage in the fact you've got two casters to split the magic across. And there's our power bonk. That is huge to find, regardless of what melee carry you're running.
Yeah, one of the single best pieces of equipment in the game.
Free saber casts equipped to whatever character you want it and can be used as armor if you don't find something like a good gauntlet to use, or pro rings if necessary. And there's the ship, so that is access to most of the map at this point. We don't have all the docks enabled, but we can see an Ordeal play at this point.
Meanwhile, in the Volcano Armory, I've seen, among other things, a Pro Ring and an Iron Out +3, which are two pretty good pieces of early game absorb.
These are
And that's resistance in the case of the Pro Ring.
Any favors. With the vanilla scripts we have with enemy fiends, the Pro Rings are usually quite good value. Do they affect touch effects for instant kill?
No, Death Touch is non-elemental.
Unfortunate. Wewbear trying to get through this pack of Argoyles. Using fire magic doesn't usually affect him that well, but 33 damage was enough. Is down a white mage and a black mage just to get that shard. No life magic, so Wewbear gonna go 2-man if they continue this dive. Meanwhile, Rax, making their way down into Earth, does not check any grind tile options or chests on the first floor. Understandable. Don't look for a grind at this moment. You just want to dive for the item and go.
Mage Stick. That's a really good time to find that. Since, well, with the Thief you can semi-reliably just run from these packs, but the stun touch on those undead can be very scary. Sometimes a bad tornado can just turn just one of many encounters in this place into a wipe.
Yeah, for a free Fire 2 cast you can put on that otherwise useless black belt at this point makes for a substantial advantage, and so far making it through. The black belt goes down, but Rax definitely not going to continue out. Ooh, has the life too though, is going to bring back the black belt, so wants to keep that up, wants to get levels and survivability on the party.
Wewbear got an unfortunate encounter at a time when the Black Mage was down to 1 HP. The whole party survives just barely. Oh wait, it was not an unfortunate encounter, it was a shard box.
Yep, but didn't look like Wewbear healed up after walking down and got very lucky.
Yeah.
We have an X chest in the footlocker for this. Okay, every single slow hit there on Rax's party, but fire burns vampire to dust, gets the job done.
More pro rings, and no bullshit that will be relevant later on, but not this minute.
Jerk birds! End the jerk birds. Do not let them stone your party. Rax gets through that, gets the shard, and can go down to armory floor to get whatever incentive item is down here. Meanwhile, Wewbear on the Agama floor continuing the checks for the item in Volcano. Well,
Katana!
That's a huge thing. Katana, not only a katana, but a +3 katana, so promotion will make that thief substantially more deadly.
And Wewbear had to deal with some wizards without a lightning attack. Now Rax has to deal with some wizards the same way.
Wewbear getting out of Volcano uses what charges they've got of Warp. Doesn't have Exit, but has the Chime, so we'll be able to check whatever is in Dwarves. There's the Oxyale, so Rax has a no progression or option there. Unless we have the dock to the Onrak continent enabled, which I do not believe we do.
Actually, we do. This week's flag set added the Northern Docks plus the Bahamut Dock and the Lefane River Dock.
Well, then there's our progression. It is in C.
Either
C
that or
Ice
Ordeals.
Cave or Ordeals. Wewbear only bringing up the mage is gonna go 3-man with the fighter white-black. I don't dislike this play. Balance your experience across the party members you think are most relevant and then have the meat shield for later. Rax takes the item and just like Wewbear is exiting out without fighting the fiend, but Rax of course having exit saves a good chunk of walk back. Rax, however, will now have to go all the way to Volcano, or actually, never mind, Rax has the ship. Rax has much more options. Doubt Rax will go to Volcano at this point. Where would you go if you were Rax?
That's a good question.
With
Volcano is probably the less scary of the two because those wizard packs, they are a thing. Sorcerers, I mean.
If Rax heads south and doesn't loop back around, then that looks like an Ordeals play.
Indeed. Oh,
No.
never mind. They're going left, so probably going for Volcano after all.
Yep, gonna take the upper river dock, go into Volcano. There's no reason to go to ice because we have no incentive there. And in fact, I can't recall a single ice dive this entire tournament for the seeds that I have watched. 24 shards is usually acquirable without even touching ice or otherwise non-incentivized dungeon, which is marsh.
I've seen it like twice. One of them was from me actually, and it's always to look for a good tile
Ooh,
rather than
stun
just to check
lobsters.
the chests.
Stun lobsters on that first trap tile on Volcano. We did not see that from Wewbear, and Rax thankfully able to get away from it.
Yep, so now we're seeing the reverse of the situation from a couple of minutes ago with Wewbear full clearing the Mammoth continent while Rax is in Volcano.
We get to check on level 5 magic, Life and Harm 4, as well as Saber and Quake. We didn't get that check from Rax, obviously with the solo red mage, not much point in checking those when otherwise the magic is excellent. The only thing we haven't seen so far that I would want to find is Nuke, maybe? Like a big sweeper, and of course Lock, which has been very, very valuable with this chaos being so evasive.
And maybe borrowing a nuke, a lightning spell of some kind, because that's a big gap in the elements we've got, as
So
these
we just saw
Argos are
Wewbear.
demonstrating.
Yeah, and we just saw Wewbear, the Grogers and Ogres. We saw Squint and Stinger. Didn't see that
Gross.
from Rax's go through of Titans. Sorry to talk over you there. And there's the power bonk. That mage stick showing up, getting some damage in, taking care of 3 of the gargoyles as the Fire 3 finishes them off. Now, does Rax want that chest in the center there so bad as to go through whatever that encounter is, or does Rax skip it?
Right, I've seen many runners just not go for that, and in this case, that would have been pretty advisable since, well,
Paralytic undead.
I was about to say that Rax managed to not get paralyzed at all, but one did get through, but thankfully you do actually get a turn when you're ambushed. It's just that it's only used for healing status.
Yeah, Rax gonna use exit, use a house, get right back in as Wu gets that ship. Wu now knows that the progression item, which we know is the ship, will be in Earth, as Rax is going to continue on in Volcano, get that chime, and realize, well, I gotta leave the Inner Sea. Well, at least go somewhere that isn't somewhere in the Inner Sea. I think this will work out better for Rax in this case, because the lack of encounters and the ability to exit out rather than warp and step will make this Volcano dive out quite a bit quicker.
Yeah, and I do recall that they had a slight lead coming into Crescent Lake, which is the point where the routes diverged.
We have seen a seemingly big divergence / lead built up just completely collapse when runners make it to Tofr. So there's no lead that's insurmountable at this point by any means.
Oh, absolutely.
For anyone who was here for our match earlier with CC, getting relatively seemingly very far ahead, but both runners ended up in Tofr at the same time, and it was a unfortunate loss when the solo thief carry was not enough to get the job done.
Anyway, more jackbirds.
Hey, they got a free soft in Titans, so I mean that got them back up and running.
Yeah. I guess stone is the closest thing we have to a more traditional death status that is more easily cured without some specialized magic.
We did see an ice sword pulled out of Volcano on that red mage now. The sword's available. I think that's a dragon sword and an ice sword. So the red and the red mage and the thief both equipped with good melee weapons. Good melee weapons for their class, at least.
And the red mage is really getting to leverage that ice sword's effectiveness in Volcano.
Now, if you're Rax, with the levels and spells you have, do you take the carry fight, or you exit and say, I'm done for now, and I know where 2 shards are?
I'd say this party is... yeah, this party is still a bit too fragile. Like, if the red mage goes down, you are in big, big trouble.
You must remember, Carrie has 6 arms, and each arm carries a sword, so not only can she melt your face with fire, she can dice and slice you. And okay, that was an interesting check. Rax looked like they were going to to ice, and then Wei is like, nope, ship's this way, leaving.
Probably some muscle memory. Now Wewbear gets the Oxyale, probably gonna check that other shot box and, well, maybe still fight Lich afterwards. Because a fighter is pretty good at that.
Yeah, Lich is probably much more doable in this order with Wewbear. See, that ice sword out of Volcano is on the fighter for Wewbear, only having the one melee character who can wield it, as Rax makes the way to Ordeals, has warp, has exit, can make it through, but as you said before, there's some pretty death-touchy characters that show up on a regular basis here, and they can even be in shard boxes, so this will be fun.
Okay, so I think it's time for some pillar predictions. Today I'm in the mood for 4.
Well, we're obviously not getting a super fast, so we've got down and down before we even make it to the pillar rooms. I'm going to say a 2 pillar, but they're going to go 2 pillar and then back.
Taking that zombie D for some pretty cheap experience, I like it.
Hit that dragon sword doing 317 for 3 hits on that thief, making good work of it. Not checking the chest, and pillar 1 takes you back 3, 4, 5, 6 rooms. And then that's a second pillar to the back, or to the start, so pillar 2 is not the option. I believe that is a pillar 3 though, because we had not seen that. Yep, pillar 3 and down.
Congratulations to Classic Gamer in chat, who's incorrectly predicted it, and Wewbear is on to Lich.
As an undead pack of fun, blocks Rax's way on the Ordeal's top side, fire damage doing all it needs to incinerate the undead, as Wewbear heals up after a mummy encounter.
Now, Lich can be surprisingly stressful. One underrated feature of him is his stun touch, which, if it lands on your fighter, can really slow down the fight and get you slowly whittled down by all these sweepers.
Ribbon coming out of Ordeals. Meanwhile, the mage staff doing good work, getting that fire damage in. Light damage, or Lit 3 coming in to finish the job. Wewbear gets 2 shards and kills a Lich, as Rax is taking on a bunch of Argos yet again. This time, though, in a box in Ordeals for what could be the progression item.
Yes, Argos, the running gag of this seed.
They're still nowhere near as bad as Arankleos, but they come in much bigger packs. And much, much earlier. Wewbear finds the Squint Ogres, thankfully gets away without getting killed yet again.
And now Wewbear is about to get on board the ship. So the question is, what place will he go first?
Well, Wewbear,
because
I'd say, is going to go Ordeals. There's not much reason to go to the Onrak Con at this point, and will not be bad to find it because the TNT got the chime already. Doesn't know the chime locked dwarves, I do not believe, or was they the one who bonked, or did both of them bonk? Either way,
I figured both runners must have tried to get to Dwarf's Caves, because those two chests are kind of valuable this early in the game.
Rax not going to turn in the TNT? Nope. Okay, decides, yeah, I'm going north. Looked like they were going towards the Onrak dock, and I was like, this is a little interesting.
Yeah, because Mermaid Prison is on. You cannot get the incentive from the Mermaid floor without the key, or a level 22 thief.
And there's not necessarily going to be enough encounters you can take early enough in C that you get those levels to make that thief that Rax is running up to that level 22.
Oh, actually, because NBA in chat is pointing out something very interesting, that this is for safe scamming in case dwarves did not end up being relevant to progression. Rax could just reset and get back to that place by the Cardia Islands and go straight to Waterfall.
Very true, but Rax does make the trip to Dwarfs and does get the floater, first runner in the air, just past 28 minutes. Still doesn't have many other options, though, other than the Onrak continent. So we're going to see a play
Cardia.
ice. Oh, true, and a good chunk of experience in those Cardia Isles with all the dragon boxes, with the dragon sword on that thief and multiple elemental sweepers. So, ribbon for Wewbear, gonna make it through those Argoyles to get that TNT turn in, as we see our first pack of dragons, white dragons with some first strike chance, gonna take advantage of fire magic on a stick and fire magic spell to take down one of them at least.
Now, while I really like the dragons at this point, there's one pack in specific that's a bit dicey. That's the Blue D's, with just Fire 3 as the best sweeper we've got, and only on one character. They might win the DPS race against the party.
That is huge, an opal +5 to go with every other thing else. Got, yep, ribbon and opal on the red mage. Keep that caster up and running. As was mentioned in chat, we did see the loot in Provoca for, I think it was 16 or 17,000 gil, which they're going to be coming back for. They've got the floater. It's a one-stop shop. And yes, that was a light axe, and I do believe it was +5. But we do not have a white mage in the side of Rax's party, or a character who can even wield it. And oof, you were saying the blue Ds were dangerous. These red Ds doing the job, wiping Rax out of the first Cardia Isle.
Yeah, those do punch quite hard.
Yeah, a lack of high-powered ice sweepers. We saw Ice 1 at level 3. We do have Ice 2, I believe, at level 1 black. So there is some ice sweepers available for, or ice sweeper available for Rax, plus the dragon swords. The red dragons should be doable with the advantage of elemental bonuses, but red dragons are known to be the most evasive of the dragons. And we have convergence. Wewbear now in the exact same location as Rax after all this differentials in routing.
This time putting the opal on the thief, hoping that this priority frontline spot can stay up longer to tank for the rest of the party.
Also opting for swings, the fire sword or the ice sword +2 on that red mage, doing just as if not more damage than the sweepers would. Single target, but you can alpha strike the team at one target and get the job done. Only take 3 or 4 turns. Unless that happens and they just low roll.
Oh yeah, you were talking about the evade on these guys?
Hopefully that counter evasion from the thief keeping it alive gets the job done, but no life caster to bring the red mage up. If this is not the incentive item, then this is going to be a trip to a healer to bring back that red mage before you continue, because you do not want to go into these Cardia aisles. Oh, I'm wrong. Rax is going to try and keep it up with the 2-man.
That's brave.
This is daring. No sweepers.
Yeah, I thought this thief can take on... Yup, they have acknowledged that and just backed away from this gas depack.
Personally, I would reset out, but Rax is going to heal up and try and make it. Wewbear, meanwhile, has the full up 3-man, is going to find a 4 or 3-pack, it looks like this time for Rax, 4-pack for Wewbear, of the highest experience you can get outside of a war mech. The 4 gas D-pack, literally worth so much experience that in the vanilla game's code, it broke the experience. Rax makes it through though. Oh my, 3. And there is the key. Access to the key locks, including Cardia Canaria Treasury.
Yeah, I understand Rax just instantly saving on the way out. And it looks like this fight did not go quite as well for Wewbear. Down to just the black and white mages. Thankfully, life could go off in time, but the fighter is on very low HP, so that's just saving the party 1 hit. But it does save just enough time for the black mage to clean this up with an Ice 2. Very nice.
13, 15, 19, 20 on those mages. So Wewbear gets the levels, gets charges all the way up to level 6. That could make a difference. Has the life charges, brings back up the fighter. Is going to check the 3 chests here in Cardia Plains. Rax, meanwhile, I can only imagine is going to go across and down or up, however you want to take it. Never mind. Rax is going to try for a 2-man grind because they don't have the mage to absorb the experience. It's going to take some grind checks.
Ooh, and I like that with the dragon sword because dinosaurs are dragons. No, really, they are.
And there you go. The punches for the black belt, getting the job done on the wyvern. This is not a horrible amount of shards. They've got enough to get that plus 25% on this first set of shards. Meanwhile, Wewbear, with the key as well, is opting to take the on-rack play. Now that they've got the key, instead of going to Canaria to get whatever's there, is going to bank on whatever's with the robot in ice or in the waterfall and what is available in mermaids. This is a better pathing, more or less, for shards. We know where the loot is, so at this point it is shards, levels, and go for both runners. Wewbear going for shards and items, while Rax is going 4 levels ahead of it. Looks like 1 shard and a robot here in Waterfall. Gonna hope they find another ribbon or some other beautiful equipment. As Glare lands on the thief, I don't think Rax will want to... Yeah, Rax is gonna lose that grind. Or at least back... Oh, wow, I just realized Rax has 7 shards. Rax doesn't even have the bonus 25% at this point, so... Not getting that value, but does find a T-Rex deep, or relatively deep into this, so... Was that a second encounter T-Rex?
I believe it was. And actually, yes, Shumi is pointing out, you don't... it's not in discrete increments as you get thresholds of 8, it's just a bonus per shard. It's presented that way because if I had to put it in the same setting as when it's orb based.
Ah, so it's cumulative where 8 shards is equal to 25 rather than 8 shards triggers 25.
That's right.
That is information that is very valuable at this point. So 20% or so bonus at this point for Rax on experiencing gold, and that dragon sword, as you said before, 4 hits 500, gonna get the job done on these T-Rexes, which are only 2 encounters deep with some stake and wings in front of it. This could go fast. You're up to 22 plus on that that thief black belt duo, as Wu is diving C right side to check the mermaids. That glare is the single most risky thing about this grind that we have seen so far, and Rax is making work through it.
Well, I do believe that they have moved the ribbon over to the black belt, was it? So, at least that's gonna be some more safety on the one we care about the most here. And yes, thank you to Shroom for correcting us on this. The scaling is 50 per 8 shards, so that's a much stronger bonus for your endgame.
Whoa. And there's the tail, so Wewbear gonna be able to promote, get access to all the weapons and of tail and a Masa. That's an upgrade from an Ice Sword +2, and hello, sword, door glitch. So we've got the differentials here. We've got a knight that will be wielding a Masa +2 versus Rax, who's going to be having that black belt or potentially master straight up punch canning their way, and Wewbear doing the good thing, carbonating bubbles in memory of the founder of Bubble Soda Co., the legendary Hate the 13th, will be missed. Wewbear continuing using that Masa, 4 hits 500 plus on the mud goal, or the rock goal I should say. Looks like a mud goal, has the palette swap. Definitely worth more experience than a mud goal would be. Wewbear also taking advantage of the ability to rearrange magic, swaps the exit into the first slot of magic, or of white 1 to just make exiting out of places that much quicker.
And opting not to go for Kraken at this point. There's a point to be made that Wewbear would be capable of taking him down at this point, but I understand not going for that. And I believe I've seen Rax's black belt one-shotting T-Rex for the first time a couple of fights ago.
Yep, we've got the 6 hits. Does not have access to the huge absorb that builds up over time just yet, so Rax moved the opal. The ribbon and the opal are on that black belt for all the absorb it can get pre-leveling. Gonna see the shift with the black belt down, gonna try and down the thief. At this point, yep, gonna wave a katana in the air, mage stick to get some chip damage while the dino does its job and takes this thief out and goes full punch cannon.
You need to correct yourself. This is a dragon.
Dragon classified in game, not dragon classified in heart. Yes, I am one of those that believes there's such thing as a draconic entity, and then there's a difference between a draconic entity and a dragon itself. There is an Excal +5. Immediately Wewbear swats that out. Has the Masa to put onto another character for the meantime, if they so choose. Now here's the
I was about to suggest the white mage because of a 28% blessing, but that was some seed bleed on my end. That was Privet Seed.
Rax in full punch cannon training mode. The ribbon doing its job to keep the glare at bay when they encounter the stake and wings. For the moment, the stake and the T-Rex, the blue stake, gonna be value. Wewbear turning in that adamant, which came out of the robot and ice, gets access to Sky, so that's 4 more shards plus all the stuff in the chest and an incentive item. Will there be any shards down here in Armory? It looks like 1, maybe 2, but it's behind some wizards, so this is spooky.
Hey,
would
those are
be.
just wizards. Don't let the palette deceive you.
Or would be. Nope, single shard, exits out, and goes.
Anyway, I've got to admire the craftsmanship of this master dwarven blacksmith who managed to perfectly pour this adamant into a cubic mold.
The true mastery of dwarves being able to forge a mystic metal that has fallen from space into this amazing object capable of unlocking access to a sky palace made by ancient super intelligent fairy or elf creatures who now live in a forest, forcibly separated themselves from the technology which they wrought in fear of their own death machine which they created and locked in the sky prison. Yes, the Lefanians made Warmech. You will never forget that.
I've got to go back and read all the NPC dialogue, especially knowing that there's a lot more of it than I thought.
It's just the remembrance that the Lefanians knew about the cube, or knew about the floater because they were the descendants of the people who created them, created the Sky Palace. They had the chime to get access to the Mirage Tower to get you into the Sky Palace. That would be amazing. That'd be like the center tile, Shoom. If we were to add that to the bingo, you'd have a center tile where you had to talk to every NPC with like critical story details.
Now, greater than less than room is being surprisingly full of shots.
And a blue D guarding one of those. 34 for Rax. 1200 damage for that black belt. Rax leaving, gonna go sub 42. Gonna take advantage of the airship, dock at that the Melman dock, save some steps. Just taking advantage of the ability to land that airship on water, brings up the party members and is going to dive C. Now with a level 44 black belt, Rax can easily take on Kraken and get those 4 shards and whatever shards are along the way. And we'll have that Masa to equip onto the ninja if they or the thief before promotion. So not having access to the katana, but having access to a Masa plus 5, yes please. Or Masa plus 2, I believe. Here will be that moment where will the grind have made Rax's sea dive that much faster to accommodate the difference between Wewbear, who dove just the right side of sea and is now in sky post-promotion.
Now that the punch scan is online, Rex doesn't care at all about the unmarked boxes, except maybe in the places where it can potentially be the incentive.
Please, Rax, you know, please, oh, no Masa. No Moss. No Moss for Rax.
But carbonation! Rex didn't even care about the boxes. It was just for the sake of keeping the world fresh. Refreshed? Yes, refreshed.
And the interesting door glitch where they were facing up instead of down, causing you to appear up outside the door of a room above it. That's the rare one. You usually see the door glitch as you're leaving a room. Using warp instead of exit, Rax is leaving those floors and going Kraken slaying.
Yep, just one cast of fast and a couple punches should be enough.
Meanwhile, Wewbear taking care of that left side, gonna warp and take advantage of some step savings, go right side on Sky 1. Did see a Masa swinging 3 hits off that white wizard. So Excal in the black or in the knight's hands, Masa in the white wizard's hands. Doesn't have a bonus to the chance to hit or anything like that, or strength, but it's still a white ninja, or samurai, or whatever you want to call it. It's a white samurai in this case, is it not?
Yep.
We see the white ninja potential for Rax with that thief, who will have a katana. So not getting the Masa annoying early because they're not promoted yet, but will have the katana on that thief, so it won't make much difference. Big Eye Gershark pack in the Sharknado X chest gets that kill, gets a good chunk of experience, and is now a floor away from killing a Kraken as Wewbear chooses to take on Sky 2 instead of going past it to Sky 3 first. What is your thoughts on that play, just skipping this floor and going to the 3rd floor first?
That's definitely understandable because the check density is just not that high in here. Personally, I like to pick one of the halves of this floor and check it as I go down to make make use of the trip, since it means I will just have to do the other half if it turns out to not be in Sky 3, which is still kind of likely, since
Take the middle round.
no matter how little check density there is here, it's still 10 checks in total.
We see swing, we see punch, we get fast out before punch, and ink comes out but does not land. Kraken taking 7 hits for 502. Evasive Kraken, 3 hits for 100 off the thief. Temper coming out, but the punch goes first. Kraken rolled up, survives 700 damage, evades all but 1 damage from the swing for the thief. Sleep, we got weight, we got punch, we got weight. Thief goes down, but punch comes out, 700 damage yet again, and Kraken down. That is some levels or some XP, a level, and some shards. Rax out of C has 13 shards, whereas Wewbear, I believe, had somewhere around 15 or so. So that differential and going Kraken side and getting some more shards, both with the Kraken kill and from chest, balancing out the advantage Wewbear's got from going up through Mirage Tower and into Sky so far.
Now Rax is going through Waterfall. That was the Adamant, if I recall correctly, which will turn into the cube, which I'm pretty sure Rax wants to find the bulk of those remaining shards.
Yep,
Almost condemned crystals.
Wewbear pulling the slab, so that is access to an incentive item and a reason to go to Lefane other than just the Superstore chance to get that black magic on the knight with the black knight flags. That will give the knight access to temper, get it quad X, potentially fast if the black knight can learn level 4 magic.
It can. Usually,
/tracker Mechlin saying 22 shards for Wu, 14 shards for Rax thus far, 1 more shard coming in for Rax just now, and 1 for Wewbear, so 23-15.
Okay, so Wu just needs 1 more shot from somewhere, and that will be go mode. Now, is there any place that comes to mind that Wewbear hasn't checked yet?
Any of the key locked outside of dwarves, so they're gonna have to go back to Provoca, as Tharkus points out in chat, to get that slab, or to get that loot. You can imagine they'll make a quick check in the Northwest Castle 3 chests, or a check in Elfland.
Anyway, hi Womek, bye Womek.
Wewbear, come on, you've got survivability, you've got plus vitality on the... Oh, never mind.
My favorite part is when the sorcerer said it's source in time.
only access to life and not life 2, does not have the ability to full res the thief, or the knight, so...
Oh yeah, this white wizard will definitely appreciate the superstore visit.
Interesting that they don't have life 2, given the fact that it's level 3 white. Probably didn't have the white wizard when they were there, though, so... Yeah, as you say, going back to... or going to get the spells and whatever that slab turns into, if the slab is like a defense sword, because we haven't seen the Roo Stick yet. Something to boost evasion would definitely help if you're solo melee. Nine hits for 10 or 1,000 damage. The X-Cal doing excellent work.
Yeah, the X-Cal is just amazing against all the fiends. And this is no exception.
Quad X gets the job done. Wewbear out, only one shard away, as Rax picks up that X-Cal and goes, well, I don't need this, and exits out. Now, Wewbear going to Lefane has not translated the slab, so will not get the item here, but will get access to all the magic. Doesn't really feel the need to get over whatever item this is in that case.
Right, because I believe that would be the crystal which turns into the defense sword.
Well,
Those are the only
the
incentives
bottle,
left.
so it would probably
Right,
be a
the
quest
bottle
chain
would also
into
be
it.
in that chest, that chain.
Rax, meanwhile, is not promoted, has not taken the time to do that, so does not have that katana, is sticking with the dragon sword and the thief. This also means Rax is not getting the levels to get magic on the white ninja, which could be detrimental, because the white ninja would have access to life 2. There is fast at black 4, there is temper. So the knight for Wewbear getting access to some very valuable items.
Well, temper is a bit redundant when you already have the power bank.
True. But you could put
But
the power
fast
bank
definitely
on the
is never redundant.
You could put the power bank on the white mage. White mage, white samurai with a power bank and a massa.
That is definitely a play.
Wewbear going for the loot. I would say at this point, Wewbear is going to check Toph and just hope there's a chest in the locks. Or a shard in the lock chest. But at this point, Wewbear is substantially closer to getting into Tofr than Rax is, having to make their way most of the way through, if not all the way through Sky, to finish out those shards. The grind is value, it brings the punch cannon online, but being a shard hunt, that basically means this is a loot things for days. The walking grind is a lot more value. Ooh, Wewbear looks like, oh, I need one more, gonna check. That is a
Southwest
nope on the
says
single.
no. Well, southeast actually, and northeast says yes.
The bonk into the, oh, I missed one, it's up here. 8 shards away for Rax as Wewbear picking up their final shard from this Gur Imp and Wolf pack. The wolves that didn't change their colors for some reason. Not all palette swaps have done anything of note. Exit save, and we will see our first dive into Tofr at 5550 or thereabouts.
I thought for a second that whoever was gonna take those ones, that would have been a bit confusing this late into the seed, but okay. And I just noticed the HP on that white mage. That vitality bonus really has paid off. That's way out of nuke range. Oops, spoke it into existence.
Well, 75% chance of it happening. That's not the most unlikely situation. 5 hits, 800 plus from the Knight, though, with that X-Cal, gets the job done, has access to life and life 2. Opting to use life 2 instead of having the ruse charge, I believe that's the right move, especially given how much you'd have to level or spend potions wise to bring up the full health. Potions, both a finite item and a time usage. Carry 2, fast comes out after the swing, fire only gets 4 hits, does 400 plus damage. Masa comes out, 3 hits for 89. The X-Cal's gonna do the work. I like this choice of fighting with the white mage just to try and get some damage done and not bother wasting any charges. Faster just to hold A and go.
Personally, if I had a ruse item in that situation, I would have been using that over the melee attack, since the white mage's continued life is more valuable in my opinion than this chip damage. But in this case, yeah, I can see it. But
Yep,
definitely rusing against Kraken.
Kraken is well known for targeting white mages, even if it's not in the code, but that is a dark landing, and we have improved dark on. Lamp was learned, gonna use it until death occurs, because Kraken says, well, you've got a white mage that I can't hit because of ruse, well, I'm just gonna hit your near knight and just floor y'all.
And ruse is paying off, as the white mage barely survives the punch. And then the knight proceeds to one-shot Kraken.
Well, no wonder Kraken targeted the real threat. Some worms harassing Wewbear on the way to Tia 2 as Rax is getting through the last few shards they need in Sky. Unless this Tia 2 or this Chaos prove to be substantially detrimental to Wewbear's party's health, Rax is not looking that great. But I say that when Bane comes out and takes out both the Black Mage and the Knight, truly detrimental to the life of the party.
Thankfully, Wewbear has been getting some really good turn order on these life 2s, so the Knight can come up just in time to take that punch.
But again, those life 2s, only one charge left to use it, and that is also the charges for ruse. As you said, the chance of your white mage going down with your only white caster, you want some evasion, it's not available. They had access to Invis 1 at level 2. I do not remember where Invis 3 or Invis 2 landed. Actually, Invis 2 landed at the same level, level 4 white, as the lamp, and oof, the last life 2 comes out.
Ah yes, Hobbit moment. We've had first Bane, yes, but what about second Bane?
7 hits, 1500. This is not a very, well, survivable situation for Tia, having taken that damage, but that's Tia 2 goes down as Wewbear, or for Wewbear, Rax takes out Tia 1, is that one shard away just like Wewbear was. Needs to go get the loot, needs to get that last shard, probably going to check in Tofr. Wewbear out of life 2 charges to full res in battle, has no ruse or evasion for his party. Does switch the Masa and the X-Cal around. No more Masa equipped white wizard, just going to go straight massive knight sword swings.
Shroom, no.
Party shifted around, Black Mage acting front, goes with the fast cast, does have Invis 2, so does have charges to try and stack them up, needs 6 casts of it for full evasion for the party, but any evasion is value. The problem here is, Invis is evasion, yes, and Chaos has got the touch effect you never really think of, so you don't want Chaos touching you. But Chaos also has every major elemental skill and nuke.
Which is why Wewbear went with this Arab. This spell has shot up in how people view it, this tournament, because this turn 1 crack, it sure has cost a lot of, well, I don't know how many runs it has cost by itself, but it certainly has some impact.
Wewbear repeatedly rezzing up that Black Mage to take some shots and get some tempers out. Gets a lot of damage in. That was 1900. Swings 500 this time. Cure 4 comes out, so full reset, but that is a fully stacked up and powered up Knight. Actually, gonna use fast. Either a slow hit or didn't get the fast out before. Gonna double up the damage. Invis 2 coming out, stacking this up, Cure 4 just to keep that White Mage alive, gets the turn order, Fire 3, chipping damage down, still nuke safe for the party, 7 for 1700. This is a short-lived chaos. If another swing like that comes out, 796. Crack comes out for no effect, swing comes out, and that is 309. Chaos still surviving, another swing, Chaos dodging everything. Just one that's last limb. Cure 4 to max out survivability on the Knight. Gets that out after the Inferno chips him down. Swings again, 6:13:35. And GG's in chat for Wewbear with a racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 2 minutes, 46 seconds. And taking the race.
GG.
Wewbear will be moving on into the next round, as Rax, meanwhile, is in Tofr, has gotten through Lich as Chaos fell for Wewbear, is on to carry 2. Black Belt in full punch cannon mode. Not at 42 plus, only at level 40, but I mean, that's all you're gonna need if you still have a fast caster. And we are joined in the booth today by our runner and winner, Wewbear. GG's.
Hey, GG's. That's me.
So, the fighter and the black belt on the face, on the floor, what'd you think of that?
He was where he should be, and the fighter was conveniently in Cardia, where he should be, so this worked out. I don't like black belt seeds, or black belts, I don't know. It's a me thing, 100%, but...
They have proven to be pretty baity. I've very much seen a few black belt seeds coming out, and rarely is the black belt the winning option. Especially when you find things like an X-Cal +5 and a Masa +2.
So far, yeah. I'm curious if it's going to stay that way when... as the scaling goes up and up, and you'll need more shards. Because that's black belt's bread and butter. Is like the harder the Tofr, the better black belt is, right? It's kind of you're playing the risk that putting up time up front to get an easier time in Tofr. So yeah, as the scaling goes up and up, I'm curious if black belt is still bait or not.
Well, it always comes down to the luck of the roll, whether or not a black belt shows up. The only way a black belt can be gotten is if you roll it as your starting character. What did you think of also getting the forced none, so you had to go none?
I kind of prefer that, honestly. I also don't like red mages, which is again a me thing. But so like black belt red mage start forced would be sad for me. But anything other than that, it would have been fine. But yeah, black belt none is fine as well. I don't mind it too much.
Anyway, as we were speaking, Rex's black belt is obliterating Chaos. Just one more punch, I imagine. No, one more after that.
Yeah, his Chaos was thick.
There it is, 11 hits for over 1500 damage. That takes Chaos down.
GG's.
And we are joined by Rax himself.
GG's.
GG's.
So you opted for the red mage black belt start, found the thief. Did you ever think to pick up another character and go 4-man, or was this 3-man from the moment you had that thief?
By the time I found the thief, I was definitely going to go 3-man. I dithered when I saw the fighter. I considered just going fighter, black belt, red mage, and if the black belt didn't seem good, I could just keep the fighter. But I have had so much trouble in these seeds where I can't run from anything. And even though there was a bonus on the fighter, I was just concerned. And I knew the encounter table had early hit, so I could probably find some kind of grind in desert. I don't know if it was right, but I decided to commit to it, and well, that's how it went.
Yeah, that Dragon Sword made the start of that grind really smooth.
The grind wasn't so bad. If I'd had more shards, I think it would have been good. But with only 7, it just felt plodding. It was like, oh, come on, just get levels.
Plus, you had the glare to deal with. That probably felt a little spooky until you reshuffled your gear.
It's less bad than on a grind tile, just because you get to save every fight if you want to, and you have to save every 3 fights. So instead of losing a whole grind the way you do if you take a tile in Ordeals or something, you lose a little bit. You don't want to, but it's less horrible.
That wasn't the worst overall grind spot / find. You had, I think it was steak and wings into blue steak in reasonably fast order. But as we've seen, and as you said, lower shard counts early, plus just the straight plotting and going through, getting the items as you go, seems to have been the way to go. GG's again for Wewbear on that.
Thank you.
There is definitely a chance to get or to stick with it. You can go in and race against everyone else to continue on. So, Rax, you're not out of it if you can tend to compete.
Oh, for sure. I'm going to do the best I can in the qualifier, and if I make it, then I'll do the best I can in those races. This has been a blast.
Meanwhile, Wewbear, you will be moving on to the round of 4. Let me double check who you will be facing.
I don't think we know yet.
Yes, I've checked. It will be the winner of the match between Phoenix and I.
Yep. Game 3 hype. I guess minor spoilers.
So this was a combination of talking over and calculating and evaluating your potential foe.
Advanced scouting.
That was not even planned, but I guess you can see it like that.
Just don't do what the Steelers do every year and look forward to the foe after the foe you're playing. For anyone that gets that reference.
Sports ball. Hashtag.
Well, any final thoughts? We can clear things up, starting with our winner and moving on to the next round, Wewbear.
Seems like as usual. Thank you to everyone putting on the restream, doing the talking and button pushing. GG's again, Rax. Been absolutely crushing it since winning Duckling, so it wasn't easy, but I'm happy I get the win. And yeah, love everyone.
And our runner-up in this race, Rax. Final thoughts?
Yeah, GG's Wewbear, I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody. The black belt is so scary. I think it could have been the play to make, but you don't know when you have to commit to it, like how the shards are going to go, what the grinds are going to be like. I felt like I had to take the risk, and I think I might do so again. I've had practice seeds with it that went great in this flag set, but this time didn't pay out super well. I had some jitters that first minute and a half. I might just fast forward through that when I watch this back. But in general, feel really good about it, and looking forward to watching more of these as the tournament goes on.
Oh yeah, these late round matches have been amazing so far.
And final thoughts, Fellison, my co-coms on stream today?
Well, of course, I need to give some thanks to Maclean, who's been putting double duty of restreamer and tracker. And aside from that, this has been for me a nice capstone to a pretty active day of FFR.
You coming off, I believe it was a double this morning, plus doing comms.
Right.
Plenty of Final Fantasy for you to finish off your day. But of course, gotta look forward to yet another race, all FFR on RPG Alert today, here at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be having a round of 8 game 1 between Spellzap and Solaris to look forward to, so definitely stick around for that. It was. Yep. Well, apparently it has been rescheduled for tomorrow, so this is the nightcap, it seems.
But
Oh.
as Maclean pointed out in chat on the FFR channel, there will be a podcast of the Last Chance qualifier run of 32.
So more Final Fantasy Randomizer yet to come tonight. If not the race in round 8, it is Last Chance round 32. So yeah, definitely check that out. Final Fantasy Randomizer here on Twitch. Big shout out to RPG Limit Break for hosting this race and all the races we've had so far and going forward for this event. Huge shout out to Fellison, my co-coms, Mechlin handling both tracking and restreaming duties today, our runners Wewbear and Rax. Y'all have an excellent evening.